Today we're gonna work on getting this firewall cleaned up. So first thing we gotta do is pull this engine. So just gonna speed through this clip real quick so you guys can see just the process. I've already unbolted the subframe and kind of had that moving back and forth a little bit, so that was a little bit of a hindrance, the fact that the subframe was rolling around, but not too bad. Just went ahead and pulled engine and transmission as one, and I've got those set aside, and then we'll get to work on this firewall. Got a few patches to do. We're going to wire brush it, going to seam seal it, and then we'll go ahead and paint it black. Gonna work on cleaning up this firewall, primarily this patch right here. I've got the subframe out. I've got everything cleaned off the firewall that's gonna come off for now. And after I get this patch made, there's a few, I don't know if you can see them, but these pinholes right here, I'm not going to do anything about those pinholes just yet. If anything, I think what I'll do is try like some epoxy or something and be very careful epoxying that, just so it's weather tight. But I'm not real concerned with these pinholes, just for one, because they're real small, but two is because the serial portion of the VIN is right here on the firewall, and I just don't want to mess that up. I mean, it doesn't really matter. There's people who replace the whole firewall altogether. But I don't want to do that, and this one I want to save as many original parts as possible. So I'm just going to probably epoxy over this and leave most of the serial portion of the VIN is still there. So what I'm more concerned with is this. Some people would just do a flat plate over it, cut this flange off, and then bolt a flat plate on there, and that's a fine way to do it too. But I just want to keep kind of the originality, so I'm going to start cutting this out. Sorry, it's probably going to get a little loud, but it should be fast. Shit, where'd I put my headphones? My earmuffs. Okay, grab my earmuffs. This one's kind of a pain in the ass. Get into that corner without cutting into here. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to cut a slit up here to get our blade down to there. I'm never afraid of overcutting because I can always weld up here whatever I cut. So we'll do that now. Okay, so here's the progress. I'm gonna start on that subframe soon, but for now I got this firewall all cleaned up. Got some new seam sealer on it. Got my patch done on the firewall there, and then also patched this lower cal. And I'm not even gonna clean up these welds because they're never gonna be seen, but it's kind of a complex patch, so I had to do it out of like 3 different pieces here, but it's better than paying like, the alternative is paying like $150 for this whole cal section, this whole piece, and then you'd have to drill out all those spot welds, all these spot welds, all these spot welds, and then put the whole thing in. Or I suppose you could just cut off the lower portion and use the patch, but then you're cutting up a brand new patch panel. It just doesn't make sense for a piece that'll never be seen. The fender will go over this, and this never gets seen again. But otherwise, ready to start on that subframe, and then we'll slam this thing back together. Oddly enough, the other side, the drinker side, had no rod in it. It's all in real good shape.